There is a direct correlation between Kamala Harris's meteoric rise, her surging in the polls and fundraising and enthusiasm, and Donald Trump losing his mind, completely unraveling. The better Kamala Harris is doing, which is better and better every single day and every single week out on the campaign trail, the more Donald Trump loses all control. And we see that in his speeches. I don't think I can say that without giving them air quotes. We see that in his press conferences, which are equally terrible, but we especially see it on Truth Social, Donald Trump's lie-ridden platform in which he has especially been losing his mind lately. It is the easiest look directly into Donald Trump's brain, or whatever is left of it, because his advisors can't try to control him. They can't try to keep him on teleprompter or on whatever message, putting message in quotes too, he's trying to deliver on a given day. And so as Kamala Harris delivered one of the best speeches of her campaign so far in Raleigh, North Carolina today, talking about her vision of the economy, what she will be enacting in terms of economic policy when she becomes president. Because she delivered such an incredible speech, Donald Trump is really amped up today, and that means he's lost it. He is typing away with his tiny little fingers on Truth Social, losing his mind because Kamala Harris just went out and torched him. And I want to watch a quick clip of Kamala Harris from this rally today. It is incredible, before we get to Donald Trump's complete breakdown, because it was hilarious. And he had a couple of examples of it. But first, let's get to Kamala Harris.
Compare my plan with what Donald Trump intends to do. He plans to give billionaires massive tax cuts year after year. And he plans to cut corporate taxes by over $1 trillion, even as they pull in record profits. And that's on top of the $2 trillion tax cut he already signed into law when he was president, which, by the way, overwhelmingly went to the wealthiest Americans and corporations and exploded the national deficit. You know, I think that if you want to know who someone cares about, look who they fight for. Look who they fight for. Donald Trump fights for billionaires and large corporations. I will fight to give money back to working and middle-class Americans.
That is an economic message. That is a vision. Not once did Kamala Harris mention Hannibal Lecter, sharks, electrocution, batteries. I didn't even know that that was possible. But apparently, a presidential candidate can lay out their vision without completely losing their mind, and it's nice to see that. It's quite refreshing. And it's quite refreshing that Kamala Harris, a complete foil to Donald Trump, is talking about fighting back against corruption, fighting back against corporate price gouging, instead of allowing it to happen and being part of it like Donald Trump has his entire life. That's what Donald Trump's life has been about. It's been about corruption and criminality. And because Donald Trump was really called out there, he responded on Truth Social. Like I said, he has lost on all control. He is unraveled, and we can tell right here. Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, "If you think things are expensive now, they will get 100 times worse if Kamala Harris gets 4 years as president. Under her plan, Kamala will implement Soviet-style price controls. She will abolish private health care and make California's ridiculous tax policies the law of the land, meaning every American will be taxed up to 80% of their income. If you want more cash and less tax, vote Trump." Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say that that is a pretty disingenuous and disastrous message coming from the guy who gave giant tax cuts to corporations and the wealthiest Americans alone, tax cuts that were paid for by working Americans. And that is the same guy also who destroyed our economy and led to things being more expensive because of his disastrous policy and giant tax cuts for giant corporations that are currently price gouging. And that's what Kamala Harris's focus is. Her focus is cracking down on corruption and price gouging and corporate greed, because she is focused on helping working people. That's her focus. Her focus is serving her community, serving our country. It's what she has always done. She is a person who is selfless. Unlike Donald Trump, who in a video that we saw caught on camera last night showed just how selfish he is and how disrespectful he is to the people who have served this country most. And I want to check out that clip.
We gave Miriam the presidential Medal of Freedom. That's the highest award you can get as a civilian. It's the equivalent of the Congressional Medal of Honor, but civilian version. It's actually much better because everyone gets the Congressional Medal of Honor, that's soldiers. They're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead. She gets it, and she's a healthy, beautiful woman. It's right. And they're rated equal.
Now, I've already talked about how disrespectful and gross those comments from Donald Trump are, so I want to share the response that Kamala Harris and her campaign delivered to them because I think it's incredibly impactful. Donald Trump knows nothing about service to anyone or anything but himself. For him to insult Medal of Honor recipients just as he previously had attacked Gold Star families, mocked prisoners of war, and referred to those who lost their lives in service of our country as suckers and losers should remind all Americans that we owe it to our service members, our country, and our future to make sure Donald Trump is never our nation's commander-in-chief again. Donald Trump knows nothing about service. He knows nothing about selflessness, and he never will. He's not changing. He's not learning. And so we can't go back. As Kamala Harris always says, we're not going back. We're not going back to the failed leadership of Donald Trump because we do owe it to those who serve our country to make sure we have a commander-in-chief who cares about their service. And someone who does care about service and has served this country is Tim Walz. And he has responded to all of these ridiculous and disgraceful attacks by Republicans on his service in this clip.
These guys are even attacking me for my record of service. And I just want to say, I'm proud to have served my country, and I always will be. With my dad's encouragement, a guy who served in the Army during the Korean War, I signed up for the Army National Guard 2 days after my 17th birthday. I served for the next 24 years for the same reason all my brothers and sisters in uniform do. We love this country. Then in 2005, I felt the call of duty again, this time of being service to my country in the halls of Congress. My students inspired me to run for that office, and I was proud to make it to Washington. I was a member of the Veterans Affairs Committee and a champion of our men and women in uniform. I'm going to say it again as clearly as I can. I am damn proud of my service to this country. And I firmly believe you should never denigrate another person's service record. To anyone brave enough to put on that uniform for our great country, including my opponent, I just have a few simple words. Thank you for your service and sacrifice.
Now, obviously, Tim Walz's selflessness and his response to Donald Trump and J.D. Vance and their disgusting attacks really upset Donald Trump because he is a selfish person. And so he took to Truth Social to say this. Kamala Harris wants to raise your taxes and make you pay for free healthcare and free housing for their luxury hotels for millions of illegal aliens. Meanwhile, our veterans are sleeping on the streets, and Kamala's running mate, weirdo Tim Walz, voted against my VA Mission Act that made healthcare more affordable and accessible for our nation's heroes. Kamala and Walz will put criminals, terrorists, and illegal aliens first. I will always put law-abiding, hardworking, patriotic Americans first. Hey, Donald, first of all, you're not a law-abiding, hardworking, patriotic American, so you should put yourself last. You should drop out. It's time for you to get out of politics. I've heard jail will be quite nice for you, so maybe you do that. But it is ridiculous to me that Donald Trump thinks he can pretend that he will serve the people who have given their lives for this country, who he will protect our veterans, when he already had a whole presidency in which he failed to do so. In fact, he did the opposite. And the image that is burned into my brain is of Ted Cruz, and I think it was Josh Hawley, but another Republican senator, fist bumping on the Senate floor after voting against the PACT Act, after voting against expanding healthcare benefits for veterans exposed to toxic burn pits while serving this country. That's what the Republican Party is about. It's not about service. I don't want to hear a word from them about service. It's not about service. It's about dereliction of duty. It's about avoiding service. And then it is about attacking those who have served. That's what Republicans do. That's what Donald Trump does. So I don't want to hear anything from them about service. It's hypocritical and it's disrespectful. And I'm tired of it. And I think the entire country is tired of it. We're fed up with Republicans. We've had enough. And like Kamala Harris says, we're not going back. We're not going back. And if you agree and you want to be a part of this movement, I feel pretty fired up right now. If you want to be a part of this movement, calling out the MAGA hypocrisy, calling out Donald Trump's lies, make sure, as always, to hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. It really goes a long way in supporting what we're doing here. And if you want to add a little extra support and you really enjoy these videos, you can hit that join button, become a monthly member, a monthly supporter of this show. It really goes a long way. As a college student, the support means the world to me. And until next time, I'll see you soon.